Crispin Glover is getting ready here in like a kung fu pose, which is really fun. And then the angels get their own kung fu pose. Hey friends, John here and welcome to The Martial Actor. Today I, a black belt, will be reacting to the Thin Man fight from Charlie's Angels. This was one of my favorite movies growing up. I remember watching this film when I was like 12 or 14 or something like that, and I just loved all the fighting in it. I remember it being just slightly larger than life. I haven't seen this in probably like 15 years or something like that, so it'll be really interesting to watch it again now that I have a background in martial arts and fighting. I'm excited to see if it holds up, so let's dive right in. Okay, so the Charlies are like busted, the angels are busting out of the party, they're chasing after the Thin Man. He's got his little cane sword thing. They run into the alleyway. And I really love this aesthetic, it's just so great. Like the graffiti on the walls, the lights, it's great. And we start strong, and I forgot how much Charlie's Angels uses speed ramps to enhance their combat. It's so fun. So Crispin Glover jumps off the barrel, and he is definitely on a wire here as well. But he jumps off the box, then pulls out his pistol, and he starts shooting at the angels. And the camera ramps the speed and makes it slower so that it's more dynamic when he goes back. I love seeing that kind of stuff, and I think here it's done really well. So he's shooting at the angels, and then they react. So that was really tricky. So these are all probably stunt doubles. Definitely for Drew Barrymore though. So you see her do the wind up, but then they cut to this ultra wide in order to do all the flips. So Drew Barrymore, her stunt double, is doing a butterfly kick. And the stunt double is probably on a wire because that's a really high butterfly kick. Most of the time when you do a butterfly, you have to get pretty low in order to then come up. But that stunt double is starting like upper chest height, so they've probably got a wire on her back and are keeping her level for that. Looks super dynamic. Lucy Liu's running on the wall. Drew Barrymore dives. Got, chalk dust flying everywhere. And the angels burst into action. So Crispin Glover jumps through the fence, and so you can see that was divided into two shots. So they actually had his stunt double jump through that fence, which would be pretty tricky to do. They would have filmed Crispin Glover on the back end of that, doing a roll and then a recovery already on the other side of the fence, and then spliced it together. Looked great. And they do the brace. And this is like the, crouching tiger wire work right here. So they bust Cameron Diaz above the gate, and she just goes flying. Grabs like a curtain that's hanging somewhere in this alleyway, jumps off the wall, and then goes back for a kick again. And the angels just like climb up the fence like cats. Again, this is all like straight up wire work, but it's not as accentuated as a movie like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's just accentuated enough to push the laws of physics, push the boundaries of realism, but not really break any of them. It's still plausible in a sense. And I really like that heightening of reality, heightening of the laws of physics. And it's really fun to watch. Crispin Glover is getting ready here in like a kung fu pose, which is really fun. And then the angels get their own kung fu pose. So Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu, you can see they're actually like pretty flexible, which is pretty cool. They were probably stretching for weeks, if not months, before this. But their legs are definitely on wires. So you've got both of their legs probably wrapped at the ankle, and then those wires are leading up to pulleys, and then people are pulling those wires in order to help assist those legs come up. And then Cameron Diaz is in like a double open palmed pose, which is really, really fun. And Crispin Glover pulls out his sword. So what just happened was that Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu lifted Cameron Diaz, and she did a front instep kick to Crispin Glover's chin. And then if I remember correctly, she's gonna do a flip. Cameron Diaz will continue and flip over. Yep. And so Crispin Glover's stunt double is definitely on a wire right there. Again, it was like super flared out, good stunt work right there, really dynamic flip. And then Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu were coming in for a side kick, it looks like. Yep, double side kick. So you can actually see that was set up a little bit differently. So Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu both came in from the same side like this with their right legs, but then the kicks landed and you saw it was a right leg and a left leg that crossed. That's super picky, like a super picky detail. Probably no one would ever pick up on that, so it's just kind of fun to see. Crispin Glover gets into the fence and then the Charlie's Angels are doing their thing. So he gets some fun sword work. So this is a fun little combo. I remember seeing these types of movements a lot in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Basically, it's a series of thrusts that Crispin Glover is doing with his rapier, his like little sword cane thing. And he's thrusting and then peeling back and thrusting and then peeling back. And Cameron Diaz is basically doing like a backstroke swimming wise and then just flaring her arms out and twisting her body in order to avoid those thrusts. It's not hard to do, but it's very dynamic and it looks great. Yep. And then he gets a nice side kick, and again on the wire, Cameron Diaz gets flung through. So this is fun because Lucy Liu's pulling out a giant street sweeping broom to bring into the combat, but Crispin Glover, he's on a wire and he would have been stationary in midair on the wire and then he would have turned in order to really sell that movement that's happening right there. Super dynamic, really fun way to go about selling that, so looks good. Okay, so this movement right here, he's definitely still on wire. So there's no way anyone could get enough force from being face down on the ground, like with their chest on the ground, and then do like a push-up into like a front flip. There's no way that would happen. So he's definitely got a wire. They're pulling him up probably from the lower waist, maybe even the legs, and then his stunt double would do a push-up to keep his face from scraping the ground. But it looks really dynamic, and again, it's just like a little bit of a heightening, a little bit of a bending of the laws of physics. Super fun to watch. And then Lucy Liu right here is using the broom like a bow staff. We didn't get a ton of choreo right there, but it was pretty fun. And bow staff is my specialty, so I always enjoy seeing any bow staff movement in films. And then Crispin Glover got a good side kick in. We've been seeing a lot of side kicks, but I don't really mind because each of them are framed in such a compelling and good way. Yeah, I don't mind. And again, we get a cool camera ramp. Crispin Glover gets a cool kung fu flair with like the sword flip. It just looks great. And Drew Barrymore is in true brawler style, just kind of grabs him. So that was a good teamwork from those two stunt doubles. So Crispin Glover's stunt double would have had Drew Barrymore's stunt double on his back and then threw her over his shoulder, and she hit the ground and then rolled. She was probably on a wire for that as well. We could rewind and see when the... Oh no, so it looks like she's actually probably not on a wire. There's probably some like boxes or apple boxes or something that she's standing on, and then she is doing a roll over him and then hitting the ground and rolling on the ground. Yeah, no wire work right there. That was cool. And he throws the sword, tries to run away. That was a cool stepping stool kick. It was like a little bit of a deviation from a normal stepping stool. A normal stepping stool, you use both feet, but you only kick with one. It's also like the crane kick that everyone knows from Karate Kid. Some people would call that like a butterfly kick, where you're kicking with both. But it looks good, and then from what I remember, Cameron Diaz is gonna like splay out, and Drew Barrymore is gonna roll over her back into a crescent kick at Crispin Glover's face. Let's see. Yep, crescent kick at his face, yep. And then Lucy Liu does a double jump kick. Those kicks are never plausible. I would never do it in real life, but you see them in movies all the time. It's even less plausible that Drew Barrymore would catch Lucy Liu after the kick, but it looks fun, so. And then, okay, so Drew Barrymore just spun, and then Lucy Liu used the spin to kick Crispin Glover's face, I think. The nature of that removes all of the torque that you normally get from your body when you're kicking. So in reality, that type of like spinning and then kick would have no force behind it. But you just put a little chalk dust on the boot, and the actor reacts, and it looks good, so yeah. And now, Cameron Diaz, in Crouching Tiger fashion, is flying through the air and kicking Crispin Glover, and he gets a nice back roll, and that looked so fun. And now the angels chase him down the alleyway. And this fight is basically done. But I do remember they do a bunch of front kicks at these doors. So let's see how they do here. And Cameron Diaz actually did a spinning sidekick, so that was cool.
Clear.
Yeah, and that's the end of the fight. Yeah, that was still super fun to watch. I still had a really good time watching it even after all of these years. I think it still holds up. There's still like very good camera framing, very good cinematic work that was done here. And I love how committed Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and Cameron Diaz are in their like kung fu poses, as well as Crispin Glover. Like really, there wasn't actually a ton of choreo. There wasn't a ton of combos. But what really sells it is their commitment to the poses and commitment to the vocalization, the key eyes, and then awesome camera work and some really tricky stunts. There was definitely a lot of wire work though. There was probably, out of this whole like 3-minute fight, there's probably at least a minute and a half where there's some type of wire involved. Wires are tricky to use. They take a lot of setup, a lot of rigging. Wire work in itself is a skill apart from stunts, apart from fighting. It's very cool that they would do that and really bring that level of fun and playfulness to the fight. And I think it really shows. Still fun to watch, still really loved it. Definitely would watch it again. And that's it for today. So take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.